Welcome to a Second Chance at Life podcast. I'm your host, Arvilla Beckworth, and welcome to another episode. This week, we're talking about motherhood. Now, motherhood comes with its own challenges, so I don't need to break that down. But as mothers, sometimes we do struggle with different things like mental health. So I wanted to bring my girl Tiara on, and we're going to talk further about it.
Hello.
Hey, girl, how are you today?
You know, I'm here. It's a good, you sometimes you just gotta just be present.
That is
You
the
know?
best place to be, is present in the
Yeah,
now. How's baby girl
absolutely.
doing?
She's good. She's oh my goodness. It moves so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I just I'm in awe. I'm like, when did you learn how to do that? And so she's getting so big and she's growing and she's the cutest little thing. If you see her pictures, she'll give you
I've
baby
seen them on
fever.
IG.
And then if you babysit her for an hour, you're like, okay, I'm good.
Said just enough time.
Just enough. Absolutely. But she's good. She's good.
Well, that's good. I'm so glad to hear. And being a mom, especially a new
Hmm.
mom, comes with a lot of responsibilities.
Hmm.
Getting your baby on schedule, having time for you, and dealing with life. How do you find ways to create balance?
It's so funny. I always laugh at the create balance because I'm a Libra and balance used to be something that I did organically and naturally and just who I am as a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Motherhood changes everything. However, I am at least intentional about trying to find balance and trying to make sure that I have time for myself and prioritizing my nails and I get massages every 3 weeks like clockwork. Like so much so I'm booked out months in advance. Like book me up. I'm coming, I'll figure it out. I don't care who gotta watch this baby, but I'm gonna be there. And so just really being intentional about taking breaks when I can, asking for breaks when I need them. Her father is very much active in her life. And what I've noticed is a lot of times, with the exceptions of single mothers who are single mothers and the other parent is abusive, incarcerated, irresponsible, or a danger to the child in any capacity. Um, I think it's also important or in two parent households, we hear a lot about like single mother but married, and through my experience, I have realized in a lot of ways we've created that narrative for ourselves and we ran with it. And what I mean by that is men take the path of least resistance. So if I'm stepping in and saying, no, 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 we got to do it this way. We have to do it this way. We got to do it my way, my way, my way, my way, my way. You know what? Fine. Here, just let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
You say things like that enough times, they're going to just let you do it. They're not going to fight you to take things off of your plate. If you don't want, if you seem like you don't want their help or
Mm-hmm.
don't allow them to help in the way that they want to help, again, sans causing harm,
Right.
you start to create this a silo. And I almost like I found myself doing it. And I was like, mm. I started telling you how to change the diapers, so you just stop changing the diapers.
Right.
I tell you what, change her diaper however you see fit. That's it. Or, you didn't clean the bottles how I would have cleaned the bottles. And there's so many things that men can't do when it comes to the parenting process, particularly in the beginning stages, like breastfeeding and,
Right.
all those things. You may not be able to produce breast milk, but I promise you, you can clean a bottle. And you can make sure that a bottle is clean by the time I finish pumping this milk.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going in the freezer bag. And the next time you need to go make a bottle for this baby, you go ahead to defrost it. And that's just not my business. And so just really finding those opportunities where I am not only accepting help,
Mm-hmm.
because at first there were times where he's like, do you want me to take her? I'm like, no, it's okay. I got her. Anytime somebody says, "Do you want me to take her?" Yes. Like I'm going on vacation next weekend, and one of my friends was like, "And don't be calling your mother all the time to see how to." I said, "Listen, I drop and go. Mm-mm.
That's it.
I base who I FaceTime my daughter once a day so she
Mhm.
can see my face. She has laid eyes on me every day of her life. I FaceTime her. We say hello. We say goodbye. And I go on about my day. Like if I trust you to care for her, I have to trust you to care for her.
Right.
I have to learn how to decompress, and I have to learn how to check out. And there have been moments where I've even told her, I'm like, listen, I'm off duty. Mm-mm. And I go close my door in the bedroom because I can't hear her crying, right? Like I don't want to
Mhm.
hear her crying and then be like, well, what's wrong with my baby? I can't hear it, don't want to know it. Or if I need to leave the house, like whatever
Right.
it takes, I'm going to get my break. And I try to make sure I have time for my friends and go to have drinks or dinner or whatever. Try to make sure that I have, my massages are scheduled, my nails are done. And thankfully, her father is really good about whatever you need, let me know. Like, whatever. And I remember fresh in the postpartum, I want to say I might have been like between a month or two in,
Mhm.
and I was losing it, like losing it. And I decided I needed to check into a hotel for a weekend, like literally 20 minutes up the road. But I just checked in for a hotel for a weekend. Most of the weekend, I just slept,
All
honestly,
the
like
yeah.
just slept, ate whatever the hell I wanted, and that was it. And what's funny is, so I exclusively pumped breast
Mhm.
milk. Like we never really like breastfed, but I exclusively pumped for the
Mhm.
first like 9, 10 months. And I remember specifically my milk production doubled that weekend, like literally doubled.
Uh-huh.
And what I attributed that to is I was rested. I wasn't stressed. I wasn't waking up every 2 hours. And so that for me was the like click, like, okay, when
Mm.
I'm okay, I'm a
Yes.
better mother.
Right.
When I'm rested, I perform better in all the capacities. When I take care of me first,
Mhm.
I can better take care of the people depending on me. And I remember when I came back that weekend, he was like, listen, if you need to do this every month, do it. Whatever you need to do to be happy, go do it and come back happy. That's it.
So he noticed the change when you went away.
We all noticed the change. Like
Uh-huh.
I came back and I was like it just child. Nah, I did not do it monthly, but it's in my back pocket. I'm like,
Right. You
I
can if you
know
want.
it's important. I know it's necessary. I know it's helpful to just not even just a weekend in a hotel, but even if it's like when I go get my massages, that's an hour with no phone, no baby, not like absolutely nothing. And just a chance to just focus on me.
And I love the fact that you spoke about uh, the weekends you were off, you
Mm-hmm.
produced better milk. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, attribute to being not stressed out, taking
Mm-hmm.
time for you. And I think us as mothers, whether newborns or we have older children, we
Mm-hmm.
don't realize how important it is for us to get that self care, how
Mm-hmm.
to take care of ourselves first so we can be better for our child.
Yeah.
And as that
And
mom
we
guilt kicks in, you're like, you feel guilty for leaving for a little bit or
yeah.
allowing someone to take care of your child because you feel like it's supposed to be you. In all actuality, it's not meant to be just you.
Absolutely. Mom guilt is something that comes innate. What I have recognized is we have to intentionally practice mom grace, and
Mm,
we have to apply that daily. Like that is a daily effort. Mom grace takes daily practice every day that you're a mother, which is from the time you get pregnant to the rest of your life.
yes.
You have to be very intentional about that mom grace. And the things that I have learned about I used to feel like I was the self-care like master, like the
Uh-huh.
queen of self-care, right?
Right.
I don't know nothing. I literally learned so much parenting, like in a two-parent household with a man.
Uh-huh.
Men have the self-care game on lock. I promise you. And the reality is, in those moments, I could have been like, "You being selfish. I'm carrying your child, and I just pushed out this baby, and you want to go." Instead, I was like, "Oh, that's how it works." Noted. For example, so I ended up getting induced because I was 41 weeks and my child refused to come out.
Uh-huh.
45 hours of active labor.
Mm-mm.
45
Mm-mm.
hours of active labor. Okay. So we're in the hospital all this time, right?
Mm.
Went in on a Wednesday, left on a Sunday. Can I tell you, every day that man went home, took a shower, played video games, and came back with food. Food for both, but came back with food. I did not shower the entire time I was at the hospital. Like literally, I showered the day we were leaving. You said I'm saying? And yes, he got me food. So I'm not saying that, like it wasn't like, whatever. Um, but I was like, okay. Every, you go home every day. And he slept at the hospital. He was there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was present for the baby being born, but just every day he made it a point to leave, go home, take a shower, play his video games, came back with food. And that was his routine. He was good. And I kid you not, so the weekend she was born, one of his sisters had went to Philly and so took like Philly cheesesteak orders and stuff like that. I'm allergic to cheese, so I didn't have an order, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kid you not. This so we got home on a Sunday. We literally got in the house, like unpacked the car and all that other stuff. And he was like, "All right, I'm about to go pick up my Philly cheesesteak from my sister's house." And I was like, that was the first lesson, like
Right.
official, like, yo, that was easy.
Mm.
And literally the next day, and I pushed it too far. The next day, I was like, well, I'm about to go grocery shopping. Okay, bye. And on the way to the grocery store, I literally was like, oh, this is amazing. The sun is shining. I'm off to the grocery store. Like,
Yeah.
hey. By the time I finished at the last store, I literally was like, I'm exhausted. I physically cannot stand in this line. I just had a baby 3 days ago. What the heck is wrong with me? Like, what?
No.
But that is where it started. That's
Mhm.
where it was like, oh, I literally just have to say, like, hey, I need to do X, Y, and Z, and then go. Like, literally.
Mhm.
Like, all I have to do is say, I'm going. Or, now that I mean, she's 18 months at this point. So,
Mhm.
now it's more a little bit like, hey, just give me a heads up on what days you need me to have her,
Right.
better communication. But it's literally like whatever I want to do, I feel capable of doing
Okay.
as long as I communicate. Like I just have to say, like, hey, Friday night I'm going to get wine with so and so. And then Friday night I go get wine with so and so. Like you know? And that makes a difference. And what I have realized is the feeling women, especially mothers, tend to have this feeling that if I don't do it, it won't get done.
Mhm.
That is a self-induced pressure. The people we are doing things for don't
Mm.
care. They don't care. They don't need it. They don't miss it. They don't expect it. They appreciate, maybe they appreciate it after you
Mm.
do it. But we put this high level of production expectation on ourselves. And the second you let one thing slip, you think the world's about to end, and they're like, okay, whatever.
Without
We
batting an
had
eye.
KFC for dinner and not a home cooked meal. So, or
Mhm.
whatever the thing is. Um, yeah, I would say just get more comfortable producing at a 80% because it's probably still more than most dads.
And did you ever experience parent burnout?
Absolutely. And in the moments that I experienced parent burnout, I think were the moments where I was trying to do too much. Like I was trying to be super mom and trying to
Mhm.
be super wife and super, well, wife, but trying to do above and beyond. And then being like, I go above and beyond for everybody in this house and no one does anything for me. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, but nobody asked you to.
So that reality hit in.
Yeah. And my child's father is very like we have a very honest relationship. We've been best friends for 13 years. So we have a very, very honest relationship. Like he will actually say, you didn't have to, and no one actually asked you to do that.
Ouch.
You want to sit down somewhere? And I'm like, you right. Yes, I do want to sit down somewhere. Thank you for asking.
Mhm.
hmm but yeah, so in those moments, I just really my thing about burnout conceptually is when there's burnout, something's off. Either your systems or your processes or like something in the formula is off. We're not designed to burn out. And from a spiritual perspective, when we talk about God's provision,
Mhm.
that also includes energy. So the things that you're supposed to be doing, you have the time and energy to do so. You might be, are you misusing it or is it not available? And so that's what I mean when like something's off in the system. If
Mhm.
you're not misusing your time and energy, is this something you're supposed to be doing? Like, yes, it's a
Right.
good thing, but is it God ordained for you to be doing it in this moment? A lot of our burnout comes from trying to do more than what we're
Yes.
supposed to be doing. Yes, you're capable. Yes, you can. Yes, you are a black independent woman who don't need no help from nobody, and all these other narratives, all that we inherit and embrace and encompass.
Mhm.
However, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing, or are you doing it because you think you're supposed to be doing it, or society told you you're supposed to be doing it, or like really getting to the root of why am I experiencing burnout, and are there adjustments that can be made, or is there something that needs to be let go?
And some of the single moms that I work with,
hmm
they noticed like in the beginning stage, everybody was there when the baby was
hmm
born. The first couple of months, they had all the support that they needed. But as time went, they started to see less and less support. So now they're at that stage of parental burnout,
hmm
or they feel like now that everyone's kind of moved on from the baby stage, no one's asking to babysit anymore. No one's checking on me to see how I'm doing. And it just feels like they're isolated.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you talk to a mom that's frustrated already? She's
hmm
single mom, single earner, no one's there to help her.
hmm
Unlike you, she doesn't have the same support system like you do.
hmm
Can you give some, I guess, encouragement for someone that's going through?
Yeah. I have to give tough love first. And I swear I'll end it with some encouraging words. But the tough love piece is use your words. So it is hard to feel like no one's asking if I'm okay, no one's checking on me, no one's offering to babysit.
Mhm.
But those people who offered or checked in the beginning are still in your support system,
Mhm.
barring some major blow up or what have you. And what I have had to realize is people have their own lives and we are the star of our movie.
Right.
We are a side character in their movie. And so they're dealing with life and work and if they have kids and partners and responsibility and they're caught up in their world.
Mhm.
And so sometimes you have to use your words. Sometimes you have to say, "Hey, I'm not okay." You know what I mean? I've
Yes.
recently had to do that. Like I literally text the people that I trust and
Mhm.
said, "This is what's going on. I am not okay. And if you have any capacity, I would appreciate your support in this time."
I love that.
And since doing that, like I could have said, "Well, nobody asked me, am I okay?" Nobody saw my Facebook status and read through my coded messaging and reached out to see if I was okay. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But what I got. And so again, these are the people. So if there were people in the beginning, they didn't magically disappear. They just got caught up in their own movie.
Mm,
Right.
okay.
And so when the baby got here, it was exciting and it was fun. And that was a a cute little fun scene in their movie. You have to let people know what you need. And
Yeah.
if you need a babysitter, and if you need, like, I recognize not everybody has a second parent who's involved in the process,
Right.
but I was raised by a single mother. I understand the concept of it takes a village.
Mm,
That village may or may not be the other parent. And again, if that other parent has not historically caused harm to your child, let them be the first right of refusal. Hey, I wanted to go get my nails done for a couple hours. Do you want to come hang out with so and so? Like,
mhm,
again, it's using your words and understanding that you got to ask for what you need and give people a chance to show up for you, not wait for people to not show up. Does
okay.
that make sense?
It does.
And so, what I will say in encouragement is you're not alone. You're not struggling alone. And even if it takes a couple of single mother friends getting together and saying, okay, listen, I got first Friday, you got second Friday, I got third Friday, and we just all of our kids are the same age. We'll just get creative. Like, there, don't just say, I'm a single mother and I have to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. You don't. It might take creativity. It might take the humility that it requires to use your words,
Mm-hmm.
but you are very much able to create the life that you want, even if you are a single mother. And like if you have some kind of like custody agreement, or, even if it's like the child goes with the other parent every other weekend,
Mm-hmm.
that's your weekend. Like, double down on it. You know what I mean? Like, make sure your massages are scheduled. You go and see all your friends. You got your nail done, hair done, everything did. Like,
Mm-hmm.
double down on the opportunities that you have and be intentional about it. Or even if it's like, I'm exhausted, I'm going to sleep the weekend away. Whatever it is, be intentional about the breaks that you do have, particularly tagging in the other parent. You didn't make that child by yourself.
That's true.
You did not make that child by yourself, and you should not carry the burden of that child by yourself. Regardless of what happened with you and their relationship, you did not create that child alone. It
Mm.
is physically impossible to do so. Hold them accountable and tag them in.
Now, for the mother that has exhausted those things,
Mhm,
has tried to get the dad is like, that's you decided to have the child, it's on you.
mhm,
I've noticed that a lot of the women that I speak with, they're kind of in that position.
mhm.
They try to reach out to them. They try to say, hey, I need some help. And it's like,
Yeah,
deuces, you do what you do. I'm going to do what I do. So the frustration kicks in. So they feel like,
yeah,
okay, now I feel depressed because I'm trying to get the help of the other parent. I'm doing everything in my power to provide for this child, and I still don't have that outlet. I still don't
mhm,
have that help. So it's like now it's more, like I said, it's getting down to where they're frustrated and this depression starts to kick. And it's like,
yeah,
I'm not okay. Like you said, I am
yeah,
not okay.
yeah,
I'm doing it. The weight of everything's on my shoulders. And before I hurt myself or my child, what can I do?
yeah. And here's the encouragement in that, right? One, your village does not have to include the child's parent.
Okay.
Your village is the people who consistently show up for you, regardless of what that looks like, whether it's best friend, godparents, your parents, aunts, uncles, sisters, friends, church lady, whoever actually shows up for you is your village.
Mm, okay.
A. B, creativity, right? Like, if the gym is your favorite outlet, find a gym with childcare. If church is your outlet, most churches have daycares. So really just being intentional, or finding mom groups, right? Where you guys can barter and trade service, assistance and help, and all of the things. Um, like a friend of mine, so she I told her, I was like, if this don't work out with baby daddy, like we could just live together, your kids, my kids, our kids, and she has like this huge house. I was like,
Uh-huh.
girl, I'll just help you with the rent or the mortgage, and like, girl, it's just easy, So
It's
just
easier.
think
Right.
if there's a mom that you like, your kids bond, whatever the case, maybe it looks like you guys roommating together, right? Like get a 4 or 5 bedroom house and split on costs, like work together, trade off babysitting. Like you just got to get really intentionally creative.
Mm-hmm.
For the depression piece, absolutely seek help of a therapist.
Okay.
Most health insurances cover a large portion, if not all, of
Okay.
therapy. Particularly if you're on Medicaid, by the way, therapy is free.
Okay.
So definitely get into some therapy. And because of COVID, a lot of them offer virtual options. So that's convenient. You don't have to worry about daycare, babysitter, any of the things. You just open your computer. But definitely take that serious and be intentional about looking for opportunities, even if that break is once every 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
or even if it's like you set up a system. Like the first thing that just came to my mind, like if you have, what is it, Sign Up Genius?
Yeah.
Child, if you don't create a Sign Up Genius for all the dates that you need help and send it to your family and friends and let them sign up and say, like, I need the 1st, the 10th, the 9th. You know
Help
what I
them
mean?
out.
And let
Yes.
pick the days that they are available to help and can help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you just got to get creative, but don't think because you are a single parent, like 100% on your own, doesn't mean that you're 100% on your own. You know,
Yes.
and even if that parent's not involved, is their family willing to help?
Okay.
Like the father may not want to be involved, but the father's mother or sister or cousin might. You know what I mean? And,
Right.
and they might want a relationship with that child because that's still their grandchild, their niece and nephew. That, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so reach out. Like, hey, I know so and so mentioned he does not want a relationship with my child, but I am reaching out to see if you are interested, and if so, can we set up a time to talk? Like,
Mm,
really being, and so that's 2 whole families now,
right.
potentially. And even if not, you have many family members,
Of course.
right? And if you don't have many family members around, it might be an opportunity to move closer to them, right? Like you just got to think about what's going to be in the best interest of you and your child.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got pregnant, I was living in Charlotte. I literally moved back to Maryland, which I have gone back and forth from Maryland. I've lived in Charlotte twice, Virginia, you name it. I've moved out of Maryland, right?
Uh-huh.
Maryland's not my favorite place to live, but all of my family and all of his family are here.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And so not only did I want my child to be exposed to all of her family and be able to see both families on a, semi-regular basis, I also knew I needed the village. I also knew I needed people where I could, like, literally, if hell broke loose today, I could send a 911, someone come get this baby, and 10 people will be at my door within an hour. Literally 10. Like, quite literally 10.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an intentional choice to come back to Maryland for that reason, to be surrounded. I don't necessarily like it, but now I done bought a house. I'm here. I'm sold. We're here.
Right.
And I gave up. I love Charlotte. I gave up a place that I loved specifically because I knew I needed a village more.
Mm. And with that being said, for a lot of us, basically, when you talk about just having the village, we don't
Mhm.
realize we do have a village.
Exactly.
We just assume because everyone else is working or they're doing their thing that they're not our village.
Mhm.
And now that you say it, I'm like, when I was a single mom, a younger single mom, I wish I
Mhm.
would have knew that. I was
Mhm.
so trying to do everything by myself. I
Mhm.
didn't realize I had a village of people that was willing to. But the one thing I
Mhm.
didn't do, I didn't say nothing.
Mhm.
So I didn't say I
Yeah.
needed help.
Using those words.
I wasn't using those words. I was sitting
Yeah.
there in silent, hoping somebody see me struggle with the carrier, someone
Mhm.
seeing the bags under my eyes, someone hopefully seeing a couple of tears.
Yeah.
But since nobody recognized, I felt like nobody, but
Nobody
yeah, they
you feel
definitely
like nobody cares,
right, right.
but the reality is nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
When we put on this facade that I'm a strong, independent Black woman and don't need nobody for nothing, everybody's like, "Okay, they got it. She got it. Alright, whatever." Like,
Yeah.
and then I think if we're honest, we'll hear those like, "Oh, did you want me to grab that? Oh, no, I got it."
Mm,
It's almost like
yes.
automatic, and we're just like, "No, no, no." It's even if it comes out of your mouth, take it back.
Take it back. Yes.
Like, if you say, "Oh, no, no, I tell you what, you know what? I would appreciate some help. Thank you." Like, snatch it back. And that's the thing. I struggle sometimes too with feeling like, well, nobody cares and I'm all alone. And then literally I use my words and I'm like, oh, nobody just knew.
Just knew exactly. Right. That's it. Nobody
Nobody knew I
knew.
was struggling. Not that they didn't care that I was struggling, but I didn't communicate with them. Like, and a lot, I am famous for it. Like, I will put something on social media and just wait for people to be like, "Are you okay?" Just for me to be like, "I'm not okay." We have to grow up and we have to
Yes.
mature and we have to say like, wave the white flag. Like, I'm not
Yes.
okay. I need help. I'm not well. And like I said, if it's something where you need, like I remember when she was younger, like my mother took her every Sunday. We would drop her off on Sunday, pick her up on Monday, and one night a week we got uninterrupted sleep, and it was beautiful. It life saving, if you
Yes.
will, And so even something like that, like the mom guilt creeped in, and I'm like, I don't want my
Mhm.
mother having to raise my child. This is my child. She didn't choose to have this baby. You know what I mean? Like that was creeping in. But then I was like, what should she offered?
You're
You know
right.
what I mean?
To
Like
tell the
what?
truth, yes.
And now it's not as often as every week. But like even for my birthday, she's like, girl, just tell me what days you need me to get her and go do whatever you want to do. Cause she knows I need those breaks.
Yes.
And I think also my mother was a single mother that didn't ask for help, didn't like she had me at a very young age. And so we kind of grew up together,
Mm.
in a sense. But her thing was if you didn't ask to babysit Tiara, her assumption was you didn't
You
want to.
didn't want to.
Just
Yeah.
because you were willing to didn't mean you wanted to. And
Mhm.
so she did not ask ever, with the exception of I think my grandmother, but at the time, like we lived in a two-family house, so she was literally right downstairs.
Right.
Um, but she literally like did not ask
Mhm.
anyone
Mhm.
to babysit ever until they asked. And I think here we are, and I'm 3 decades later. I think she sees like now that both of her children are grown,
Mhm.
now she's starting to live and enjoy life and all the things and it's funny because I'm like girl, I got a massage schedule that's at 4. What you talking about? And she's like, I want to get a massage. I'm like, you are an empty nester. Like, girl, you could have been had a massage. Like, what do you
Mhm.
mean? But she's still, I mean, at this point she's
Yeah.
ingrained into that, like everybody else needs come before mine. and,
Mm.
and it's a mindset that I pray every Black woman releases themselves from, because life is better on the other side. It really is. Like and it's not that I don't care about my responsibilities or my child is loved, okay? And she knows she's loved and she knows she's safe and she knows she's like, as long as she lay eyes on me, she's good.
She's good. That's
She's
it.
good. And that took intentionality. But in
Mhm.
order to have that intentionality, I had to be good in order to make sure she was good. Because what happens is that burnout
Mhm.
leads to resentment
That
And
was my
as your
next
children
question.
get older, they
Mm-hmm.
can identify that you are the source of their resentment.
Mm.
Like my mother absolutely did the best that she could, and I won't ever take that away from her. And she was a damn good mother.
Mm-hmm.
As I got older, I started to feel the resentment. Like every time she talked about what she sat, because she had me at 21, she left school. She ended up graduating, but she like transferred out to a different. She left Howard and went back to Buffalo. Like she sacrificed life
Right.
because she got pregnant. And as I got older and started to hear her talk about like, oh, I can finally do this, and oh, I can do that, and I started to feel the responsibility of her resentment.
Mm. Ouch. That doesn't, yeah. That doesn't feel good
And
at all.
it does not feel good. As the child of the mother who never took time for herself,
Mm-hmm.
and that led to burnout and that led to resentment, as the child of that, I felt it. And so we always talk about we wanting our kids to have better,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
We always talk about that. But a lot of times that comes down to career opportunities and money. I want my child to have a better mental health experience. I want my child to have a better emotional experience. I want my child to have a better interpersonal experience, right? And so when I think about being the child of a mother who was burnt out for a majority of my life, literally, she was a single mother of two trying to make it work. And not only that, me and my sister are 10 years apart. So she
Mhm.
was going through puberty and potty training. She was going through college and middle school. Like she was burning at both ends of the candlestick.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of it was circumstantial. I got it, right? But I also emotionally paid the price for her not taking care of her. I, as her child, paid the emotional price of my mother's burnout. And
Yeah.
so, as I became a mother, it was very important for me to be intentional about minimizing burnout. It still happens,
Mm-hmm.
it still exists. But when it happens, I react. I
Yeah.
don't just say, oh, well, this is just life and woe is me. I'm a mother. Let me just get used to it. I said, let's fix this quick. And I understand that allowing her to spend time with her aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents and whoever makes me a better mother. And so when I do interact with her, and there are times where I'm like I'll let, again, men take the path of least resistance, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I have to say to him, I need a break. Give me I can't parent today.
Mm-hmm.
And he always steps in and he'll do it. And I get not, some people don't have that experience. And I understand that. I'm very sensitive to that. Like I said, I was raised in it. But there is somebody who, if you said, I am not okay,
Mm-hmm.
I need a break, please come get this child. I'm losing my shit.
Right.
Somebody in your corner will show up.
Yeah.
My guess is at least 3 to 5 people. And then just rotate them.
Right.
Child, just rotate them. If you need weekends off, if weekends are your time, let's just say Saturday is your me day, right? If you have 3 to 5 people in your life willing to take one Saturday a month, that's nothing for them and everything for you.
Right. Right.
Everything for you. If you simply communicate, I would like to incorporate breaks in time for me. Is there a Saturday that you can commit to having her or him every month? And if you have multiple kids, split them up, child.
Yeah.
You
That's
go to auntie house, you go to grandma's house, you go to your cousin's house. Like you, or if grandma's able to take all of them, you know what I mean? Like
right.
whatever it takes. And I have a friend, she's a medical doctor and she has 3 kids and the oldest is 5. And she's a single mother.
Wow.
But when I tell you, when she want to go to Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
she do. When
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, when she want to go to a festival, She do. When she want to go out to drinks, she do. It's about using your words.
I love that.
And part of the person she leans on is one of her sister has 5 kids.
Uh-huh.
And she'll literally, like, I'm like, dang, you gonna add to your sister? She like, girl, they got a whole system. They basically a daycare. I just go and drop my kids off and add them to the mix. And I think once we tackle mom guilt,
Yes.
the rest is so easy. Because I was giving her mom guilt that didn't exist, right? Like she didn't have
Right.
it. And I was like, you don't have no mom guilt about that? And she's like, no, girl, I just go, no big deal. They'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing I want us all to do
Okay.
is be very careful about shooting on other moms.
Mm.
A lot of times, because we feel like we would feel mom guilt,
Mm-hmm.
we imply that they should.
Okay.
A lot of times. I remember when I went on my best friend's birthday, her 30th birthday, we went to Tampa, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And every woman that I spoke to before the trip, well, who's watching the baby? And I was like, her dad. Like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Who's watching the baby? Because
Uh-huh.
at this time we were living together. I'm like, what? I'm going on a girls' trip. Like, what do you mean? Who's watching the baby? But the
Right.
assumption is if mom's away, the baby's not being cared for. And that is a very dangerous assumption because the moms who are new to breaks and mom grace and all these things that we're talking about today and using your, like, can you imagine if that was my first time taking a break or if that was my first time wanting to do something for me and every woman in my life was like, well, who watching your child? I'd be like, you know what? I'm not even going.
Right. You change your
Because
mind.
you already feel the guilt.
Right.
I don't need you to tell me to feel guilty. So we have to be mindful about not imposing guilt on people because it's already hard enough to take a break. Like
Right.
it just is. And so I want us to say, instead of saying things that impose guilt, things that encourage grace. Oh, girl, you taking a break. I'm proud of you. Enjoy. Live it up. Live your best life.
Change the verbiage.
Because as a mother, you know I'm not going on no trip without making sure my child is good. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's no world where I'm going on vacation and I have no idea what's going to happen with my child.
Right.
So let's skip past the logistics and just praise and acknowledge the mothers who are trying to take breaks for themselves because it's hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Tiara, you have been dropping some knowledge. The questions that I had, all of them didn't get answered. And that is okay because the angle you came from, I believe it was probably needed to have because
It
a
was
lot
for
of
somebody.
people, somebody needed to hear this in its entirety. And I'm so glad that you were transparent. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so glad you gave tough love. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so glad you even came with tips and tricks on how to counteract it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, because I think somebody hears this, this is exactly what they needed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, before I go,
Mm-hmm.
please tell my audience how they can connect with you online because they didn't got the gems. They know you
Yes.
got the tough love.
Yes.
How can they
And
find
I
you?
hope the tough love was wrapped in
It
love.
was needed, sis. No, no, no. You were right on point.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'm very big on, I don't want to just tell you what you need to be doing. I want to help you think through how.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because there's nothing worse than hearing somebody say what you should. Okay, tell me how.
Right.
Like, I
Right.
know I need to be taking breaks, but how am I do it? You know what I mean? So I hope there was some tangible, like, oh, I could try this or I could try that. And it's all a process.
Mm-hmm.
You got to trial and error that thing, figure out what works for you. But no, I appreciate the conversation and thank you for having me. So I am available on all platforms at Tiara Nicole Riley.
Awesome. And you guys, she definitely has a few books out. She
Yeah.
has Life After a Loss,
Hmm.
When Life Gives You Lemons. She
Hmm.
has a podcast, Chasing Dreams.
Yes.
So she has a lot going on. She's great with personal development. So if you have
Yeah.
not checked her page out, I will leave her information in the show notes. Check her out, see what she got going on. This sister has a story to tell, and we only scratched the surface.
Okay.
She has some other things that she has dealt with. So
Yes.
please make sure you follow her, reach out to her, because I think you will truly be blessed. When she talks about motherhood, the Lord's brought her through a testimony that she's been through some things. So please,
Baby.
please follow her and hear her
Yeah.
story.
Thank you so much. I just appreciate you sharing this space with me and allowing me to grace your platform. I listen, y'all. Slide in my DMs, okay? If we can follow, we can continue this conversation in my DMs. If you still trying to figure out like how I'm gonna do this, let's plan it out. Let's figure this out because every mother everywhere, particularly my Black mothers, deserve breaks. It is not something you can earn. You existing alone, you deserve it.
I love it. Now, ladies, she's put the information out there. It's on you to take the next step on how to do it. So
Yes.
she's extended it. But I hope this episode was what you needed this week. And understand that as mothers, we do have our own struggles. So
Mhm.
don't think you're doing it alone. Don't think there's no one else that's been through it. But we are a community, and you have to use your words if you need the help. So until next time, you guys have a great week.